So, here you are, an artist, and you're wondering, should I start an LLC? What's the point of even having an LLC? And is it even necessary for me to start an LLC as an artist if all I'm doing is creating artwork? Well, today we're going to talk about exactly that. Stay tuned. What's going on, y'all? My name is Todd St. Clair, and this is St. Clair Studios. Here at St. Clair Studios, I am documenting my journey as an artist, the ups, the downs, and I'm also documenting the discipline of creation. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the question, should an artist start an LLC? We'll also be talking about why I, as an artist, started an LLC, my LLC, which is St. Clair Studios. We'll also be discussing what is the right time for an artist to start an LLC, or if an artist should start an LLC in general. So with that being said, let's get right to the video. So why would an artist start an LLC? An LLC separates your personal finances from your business. So if anything ever happens, whether it's a dispute or a contract issue or something unexpected, like someone walking into your studio and slipping on a wet spot in your studio and breaking an arm and or elbow, God forbid any of that happens. But if these things happen inside your studio, then having an LLC as an artist pretty much separates you from these things happening. Your LLC is like its own entity. It's like its own individual, its own entity with its own social security number. If anything were to happen, somebody sues you because they slipped and fall inside of your art studio, again, God forbid, they can't necessarily come after your personal assets because your entity, your LLC, your business, your organization operates completely separate from you. Now, 9 times out of 10, these things are rare to happen to artists, to freelance artists like you and I. But a lot of artists find it that it removes a lot of stress by them having an LLC. It creates some type of mental clarity when they have an LLC. Now, when it comes to my business, my organization, which is St. Clair Studios, the main reason why I decided to start an LLC may seem strange to some people. I started St. Clair Studios late last year in 2025, and the main reason why I chose to start St. Clair Studios is specifically because I wanted to build business history. I wanted to build business history, and the reason why I wanted to create and begin to generate business history is because I have this goal later on in the future. I have this idea later on in the future, and that idea is starting my own real estate rental property business. I plan on putting my real estate business under its own LLC. Now, some may hear that and say, well, Todd, art and real estate don't really go hand in hand. And at first it may seem that way, but as an artist, I'm also a mural artist. And the idea that I had was taking my love for art and mixing it with real estate. You see, when it comes to real estate, and I'm going to do my absolute best not to go deep into this rabbit hole and explaining what real estate is, but when it comes to real estate in and of itself is an appreciating asset based on where the home is located. It could be an appreciating asset. we're always going to need a home. We're always going to need a home. We're always going to need a place to live. As an artist, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if, let's say, college students or somebody going on a vacation could walk into a home that's under my LLC or Airbnb that's under my LLC and tell their friends, yo, you would not believe the Airbnb I just rented. It has a man cave, and inside that man cave is a mural by Todd St. Clair. Or they can brag and boast that there's a mural inside of their kids' room, a mural of Superman. It could be a Superman themed Airbnb, or it can be an Avengers themed Airbnb. But that is my idea. That is my goal. That is the main thing that led me into creating an LLC now. And I know that idea in and of itself may seem far-fetched, but you got to dream big. You got to dream big. So that's what I'm doing. And I know later on in the future, when it comes to creating an LLC, a lot of banks and a lot of lenders, they're not randomly just going to give anybody thousands of dollars to start their investment in. They want to be able to see, okay, such and such person has already owned their own business for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, such and such, based on their bank accounts and based on their payment history, they do seem very trustworthy. Based on their credit score, they seem very trustworthy. And maybe we can, maybe we'll give them a chance. Maybe we'll give them this loan. And, so this is, that in and of itself is one of the main reasons why I chose to start my LLC, St.Clair Studios. My goal isn't just to sell paintings, just for the fun of it. I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking way beyond right now. That's my main goal. One thing that I realized, and one thing that I can say, is that me creating the LLC came with a huge mindset shift. There was a huge mindset shift. Starting an LLC, it forced me to evolve mentally. It no longer was me just slapping paint on a canvas, but a part of me realized that now that I started this LLC, it's almost as if I am being forced to dig deeper into myself as an individual. A part of me was comfortable just creating for fun. A part of me was just comfortable throwing paint on a canvas and putting outlines and grids together. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to create art just for the fun of creating art, then so be it. Creating for the love of it is how artists usually begin their journey. But once I created the LLC, I had to ask myself a different question. Am I just creating, or am I building something big? Am I just creating, or am I building something big? Am I just slapping paint on a canvas, or am I building something that calls for more structure? Am I building something that calls for more focus? Am I building something that's bigger than myself? So for me, the LLC wasn't just paperwork. It was a signal to myself that I'm taking my artwork more seriously. And to be completely honest, it became somewhat of a discipline. It became somewhat of a discipline. It was no longer a hobby. It's almost like working out in the gym. At first, when you first start working out in the gym for the first time, you're going into the gym and you're just pushing dumbbells. You're just throwing weight around. You're just throwing weight around for the fun of it, to see how it fits, just to see what workouts fit your body the most. But once you actually start focusing on your macros, the amount of protein that you're putting into your body, the amount of calories that you're taking in every week, you feel that mental shift. It's no longer about going to the gym for the fun of going to the gym. You're now stepping into the realm of, okay, let's take this serious. How can I sculpt my body? How can I build my shoulders? And it's like, that's that mental shift that happened when I started my LLC. It's like something clicked and it's like, okay, it's time to take this serious. It's time to take this serious. When is it the right time for an artist to start an LLC? And should an artist start an LLC right away? If you, as an artist, if you're just starting out on your art journey, the most important thing is building and creating consistency. If you're just starting out as an artist on your art journey, the most important thing is to build discipline and build consistency. I firmly believe that as an artist, if we choose to, or if we endeavor to pursue taking our artwork to the next level, we shouldn't do that until we have a significant body of work lined up. We have to be consistent. We have to be consistent. Having that body of work does many things. One of those main things that having a decent body of work does is it allows us to see and find our voice. It allows us to find our niche, whether that be creating landscapes, whether that be creating portraits, whether that be creating caricature art, cartoon-like art, anime art. We can't find our niche or our voice if we don't have a significant body of work. For instance, we might create within 2 months, a 2-month span of time, we might have generated a good 20 to 30 pieces. And we could look at those pieces and say, I really don't like how that landscape came out, or I don't really like how that portrait came out, but I really love my still lifes, or I really love my anime pieces. Maybe I should build up on anime pieces more. But you won't be able to find that out without consistency. It's like going to the gym. We might sit back and we might look at certain bodybuilders like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or we may want six-pack abs like he has, or we might want biceps like he has, or shoulders like he has, or leg muscles like he has. But if we're not consistent, if we're just going to the gym twice a month, we're never going to get those results because we lack the consistency. And as you may already be able to tell, I love going to the gym, so that's why I choose to use that as an analogy. But point being, consistency is very important, I believe, as an artist prior to starting an art business. There's nothing wrong with just creating, and there's nothing wrong with creating for the fun of creating. This stage is where you develop your artistic voice. In the beginning is where you develop your artistic voice, experimenting with different ideas, experimenting with different niches until you find which niche or which idea suits you best. Structure is very powerful, very, very powerful, but discipline comes first. Consistency as an artist comes first. It comes first with anything in life. For with consistency, when you create consistency and you develop consistency, you find your identity. You find who you truly are as an artist. And if you can't show up and create consistently, an LLC won't fix that issue. An LLC won't fix that issue. I can go to the bank, create an LLC online, but that's not going to change the fact that I'm not being consistent. I can go to the gym right now. Start a membership, but that membership in and of itself isn't going to make me more consistent. I must prove to myself that I can consistently work out. I must prove to myself that I can consistently get off my ass, go to the gym and hit those reps. Prior to you opening a business, I believe it is very, very, very important to prove to yourself that you can sit and consistently grind out those pieces. Consistently grind out, even when you're burnt out. Just keep creating. Create. Because that's how you find yourself as an artist. That's how you find your voice. And until then, I personally don't believe it's the right time to create an LLC. There you have it. That's about it for today. Now, there are all many other benefits to having an LLC as an artist that I didn't touch on. But for the most part, having an LLC as an artist is a definite mindset shift. But again, prior to opening an LLC as an artist, you want to make sure you have a consistent body of work. You want to make sure you put your reps in. I would say at least 20 to 30 pieces of work. And with these 20 to 30 pieces, you can sit down with yourself in your studio, at your desk, wherever, and look at these 20 to 30 pieces. You could honestly ask yourself, do I like the way I do these landscapes? Or maybe I like my anime artwork, or maybe I like my portraits or my still lifes. By having that 20 to 30 pieces of consistent work sitting in front of you, you're able to find your niche and find your voice as an artist. And then it would make sense, in my own personal opinion, to open that LLC, because you have created something worthwhile. You have taken yourself serious. Be consistent and stay disciplined, and then start that LLC. My name is Todd St. Clair. If you made it this far in this video, I just want to say thank you. I will be continuing to document my art journey, and feel free to join me on this art journey. To all watching, have a great day. Peace and love.